Hello again, everybody, and welcome into the Shelby County High School Football Pregame Show live from the Hoover Met with Andrew Simonson and right here at Pelham High School as we get you geared up for a big night of high school football action across Shelby County. Some big games taking place tonight, Andrew. Two of them right here at the games that we're going to be at and see in person tonight. We've got Pelham Oak Mountain right here, a good fun rivalry battle in the county at Pelham High School. And then over there at the Hoover Met, the Spain Park Jaguars and Hoover Buccaneers, both entering off big wins to start the season. So we got a big night ahead, Andrew. I know we're barely awake right now after our long trip up to Nashville last night, just a few hours of sleep for each of us. But beautiful night for high school football. I imagine the energy's starting to come out in you a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It's hard not to get excited when you've got a big matchup like this here at the Met. There's really nothing like it. I've been here for Spain Park Hoover games in the past, and it has definitely not been as closely anticipated as this one has. I know you got a good one over there at Oak Mountain Pelham. We got 10 more on the docket for tonight. Let's just dive right in. It's going to be a great week 2 slate.
Yeah, we saw a great game last night, obviously, with Thompson picking up a road win at Lipscomb Academy, 27-21. They bounced back from a season-opening loss, and that was an exciting game. Thompson looked much better than week 1. I imagine that excitement's going to carry into tonight with all the great games that we have on tap. So we're going to jump in. We're going to break down all the games, get you ready for a big night of high school football action across Shelby County. We're going to start as we always do down in the AISA, ACSC, work our way up. Andrew, we've got 3 matchups there. Cornerstone at North River, Coosa Valley hosting Southern Prep, and Evangel taking on Banks at Legion Field tonight. A pretty cool opportunity there. So walk us through those 3 games and give us your prediction with those 3.
Yeah, I think the Cornerstone and Coosa Valley matchup should be pretty straightforward, particularly for Cornerstone after an explosive performance we saw for them last week. Both playing some really struggling opponents in North River for Cornerstone and Southern Prep for Coosa Valley. I like the county teams in both of those, Cornerstone and Coosa Valley. Evangel, I'm a little bit more unsure about. Banks is a really solid team. Yeah. Lost to a Georgia private school powerhouse in Flint River Academy last week did Banks, and now Evangel coming out of a matchup where they were able to squeak by, well, not necessarily squeak by, but really able to push past them in Abbeville Christian with a couple of second quarter touchdowns, really showing a solid 11-man result, but this is going to be a true test of how they are at that level. So I do like Banks in that one, but wouldn't be surprised if Evangel makes it a really close one and a fun one.
Yeah, I think you're going to get some good games there tonight. I think Coosa Valley Southern Prep could be a good game too. Southern Prep coming off a 34-0 loss to Sparta. Coosa Valley obviously opening the season tonight. A little bit of extra preparation to go into that one. Evangel Banks going to be a good football game, I think. Banks lost 27-9 last week. We'll see if they can bounce back. Evangel playing such good defense early in the season. I think that may get it done. And I expect Cornerstone to walk away with the win in that one. So it should be a good night there for our AISA and ACSC teams. Cornerstone and Evangel looking to remain unbeaten. Coosa Valley looking for win number 1 of the season. And we talk about difficult matchups. The Vincent Yellow Jackets taking on BB Comer tonight. This is a big game for this team. I know they're dealing with an injury to Aiden Poe, who's likely going to miss this one out there at receiver. He's able to do things on both sides of the football as well. So this is a team that struggled a little bit last week, but they start 1-0. If you can get a win in this one against a good Comer team, going into a region that we've talked about extensively is going to be a challenging region this year, got to feel good about your odds moving forward. So when you break this one down, Andrew, what are you looking for? Who's going to walk away as the victor there between Vincent and Comer?
I'm really looking forward to which of these teams is going to respond the most from this past week. Obviously, Evangel gets it done against Winterboro, but it's a little bit of a messier result than they maybe want, especially against a 1A school. And then you have BB Comer just go out and absolutely not do well on offense whatsoever against Wadley. That does not bode well for them in moving up to Class 3A when they had, in particular, been a powerhouse at the 2A level and a bogey team for Vincent in the past decade. So I think whoever is able to make those big adjustments will end up getting it done. I think Vincent definitely going to have to lean on Jade Roberts in the run game and have Kason Fields make some plays to some other receivers, not necessarily named Aiden Poe since he won't be in there for them and in the pass defense for them as well. I lean towards Vincent in this one despite the dismantling that BB Comer did to them last season. But I think it's got potential to be a really good football game. And like you said, a confidence builder for Vincent if they're able to get it done going into region play.
Yeah, if the defense plays like they did last week, great opportunity for the Yellow Jackets to start 2-0, and that'd be a good win against that Comer team. I think it's going to be a tight game that could go down to the wire, but I think defense is going to keep that one close throughout. Going to be fun to see if the Yellow Jackets can walk away with a victory. They win that one. A lot of confidence going into a very challenging region that we're going to talk plenty about moving forward throughout the rest of the season. But that takes us to the Shelby County Wildcats. The Wildcats start with a big win last week, 57 points in a 57-10 win. Most points they've had in a game since 2019. The offense gained some momentum. That was the big question mark coming into the season. We've seen good defense there for the Wildcats the last few years. So to see Shelby County step up and perform that way offensively kind of starts to make you think a little bit different about this team moving forward. Tonight they get a Holtville team that good chance you're going to see Shelby County improve to 2-0 if they play as good as they did last week. So, Andrew, this is Shelby County team that scored just 24 or 15.6 points per game last year, 24 or less in every game. What was the key in the 57-point outbreak last week, and can they do that again tonight against Holtville?
4 little words: running the dang ball. Yeah. It was all the run game for Shelby County. Close to 400 yards total in the run game. Devin Alexander taking up nearly half of that. It was a big game for all of them, but they're going to have to do it again against a Holtville team that came in and really had their way with them last season. So this is going to be an interesting test to see just how much progress they've made compared to last season's 2-9 record. But I'm really interested to see if they can evolve past that. If Ryan Sipes can get in the pocket, make a few passes for them, show them some things that maybe they don't necessarily have to rely entirely on the run. Obviously, it worked to success last week, but do they have that extra dimension there on offense? And then if the defense is able to show up and give another lights-out performance, I think that bodes well no matter what happens with the offense.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big thing. This, like you said, this really will tell us what we need to know about Shelby County moving forward in the rest of the way. Because you look at how this game went last year, lose 41-18. If you're improved, you're going to have a better showing this time around than you did last year. And already seeing it from the offense early in the season, I expect we're going to see another strong performance there offensively from the Shelby County Wildcats tonight. I think they're going to move to 2-0, and I have high expectations for the Wildcats the rest of the way. So going to be fun to see what they can put together, but I'm expecting Shelby County to walk away with the win there tonight with that improved offense and with the defense continuing to play well. I think that's going to be a storyline we focus on the majority of the year, but going to be interesting to see if they keep that momentum up offensively. Staying in the 5A classification, we go to the Montevallo Bulldogs. They're on the road at Sylacauga tonight as we get the feel right now. I just love, like, the band's going by right now. This just is, it's game night. This is awesome. And hopefully people can still hear me, but just the atmosphere that you get with doing a live show like this, getting that game day atmosphere is a lot of fun for us. But Montevallo on the road at Sylacauga tonight. They were sound last week. Montevallo was in their opener, 32-0 shutout on Thursday. They've had an extra day to prepare. They take down 4A Tarrant last week. Now they get a Sylacauga team, a little bit more depth than the team they faced last week, and probably a little bit more depth than what Montevallo's got there as well as a former 4A team. So, Andrew, is this a game where you see Montevallo having an edge and being able to improve to 2-0?
I think they do, and I think this is a chance to be a sneaky good game on the night, simply because Sylacauga definitely showed a lot on offense in their opener, but granted that was against Central Coosa, a team that's a few levels below them in classifications. Montevallo also having a night against a team from a lower classification in Tarrant. So I'm interested to see from both of these teams, were those a flash in the pan, or how much of that is the real thing of what we can expect going forward, especially Montevallo going on the road to Sylacauga, a good 5A school for them, a good 5A test for them to see how they will react to facing a team of that similar level before heading into what should be an entertaining region for them. But you stick to the two things that got you through the game last week, which is a killer defense that gets after the ball and running the football really well with Rosario Conwell and that incredible offensive line that they've got. I think that really sets them up for success. I think that as the season progresses, Jordan Ward D-cuts, that some of that passing game is going to develop. But right now they got two things working really well for them, and that's enough for me to really give the edge to them, especially since Sylacauga let up quite a few touchdowns against Central Coosa last week.
Yeah, and I would expect Sylacauga to have the depth advantage, like I said a few minutes ago. They're just going to have bigger numbers. But at the same time, you've kind of convinced me that Montevallo's got a chance to really pull away or win this football game at least. And you look at Rosario Conwell with 218 and 4 touchdowns last week. If Sylacauga's defense is not prepared, do it until it doesn't work if you're Montevallo. And I think they're going to have success running the football tonight. So I think they've got a really good chance to go on the road and pick up a win. If Shelby County and Montevallo win their football games tonight, I know they've got Demopolis in their region, but watch out. Those two teams, I said it before, it was my bold prediction. They're both going to make the playoffs this year out of that region. And if they start 2-0, look out. They've got a really good chance at getting the 2 and 3 seed and maybe even competing for the top seed in that region. Who knows? So could be interesting to see what's going to shape up to be an interesting run there for Montevallo and Shelby County the rest of the way. Before we jump on in the show, let me tell you about Montevallo Main Street. Make sure you visit them throughout this football season, Montevallo fans. It's an exciting time there in Montevallo with everything they're doing. A lot of businesses, and Main Street's going to get you everything you need to know. They're doing great things to support local business, so make sure you support them and support the local businesses there in downtown Montevallo. Before and after games throughout the year, we're about to hit fall. Perfect time to go shop the beautiful streets of Montevallo and support Montevallo Main Street. That takes us, we remain in the 5A classification, but a game in which Briarwood's going to take on a former 6A foe and 6A opponent Homewood tonight on the road. And Andrew, this is a really good chance this is going to be an exciting matchup tonight. I'm looking forward to it to see how it unfolds. What are your thoughts on Briarwood hitting the road to take on Homewood?
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting. Word just came in from Coach Forrester that Luke Reynolds is out of this game. Both teams know that going into this one. Thank you for Tyler Rayleigh for getting the scoop on that one. But he definitely takes out a dimension on both the offense and the defense for them. A good, solid running game that was really their backbone of their offense last season. But if you got to witness last week, this team is sneaky good in the passing game, working in both Braden Robertson and Charles Dedman within that quarterback position, and got some really solid receivers. We expected John Paul Harbour to come into the season as the breakout receiver. Dane Whitehead really stepped up as that big play guy for Briarwood in week 1. So I'm interested to see if they can continue rolling, especially against a Homewood team that's a really solid defensive team. But if you want to talk about Homewood, you've got to talk about two guys. That's Will Myers at quarterback and Evan Osmer at running back. They're going to cause a lot of problems for the Briarwood defense if they're not ready for it, which means I think this is a really good test as to see where this Briarwood defense is going into region play, especially next week against a Ramsey side that's going to be looking for some motivation after a couple losses to open up the year. I do think that at the end of the day, those two guys over on Homewood are going to be able to find some space to make some plays and get past a Briarwood defense that frankly didn't have the best week last week against Oak Mountain. I think that gives the edge to Homewood. But if Briarwood's able to come out and compete in this game, I think that sends a big statement to the rest of this region as to where they can compete come later in the season.
Yeah, I think that's the big key is Briarwood's defense going to improve from week 1 to week 2, and they've got the coaching staff to make that happen. The head coach, Matthew Forrester, a guy that's a defensive-minded guy, a strong linebacker in his playing days. He's going to get this team prepared and make the adjustments, but they're taking on a very talented offense this week. Offensive line strong and has improved in week 1 already going into week 2, so they're going to be even better. And then you look at what you've got with Will Myers and Evan Osmer. This is an offense that's going to play some good football, but their defense is loaded too. And I think you're going to see Briarwood's offense still trying to get things going, struggle a little bit in this game. I like Homewood a lot this year to compete for a 6A championship. So if Briarwood can go on the road and win that matchup, look out for the Lions. They figured it out very quickly from their week 1 loss against Oak Mountain. But ultimately, Homewood, I think, the better team right now. Briarwood may start 0-3. We may see them beat Ramsey next week from what we've seen from Ramsey so far this season. But Briarwood, after these first 3 games, I think they're going to settle in and make a really good run down the stretch to end this season. Should be a lot of fun to see that. That takes us to the 6A classification. We're going to start with Calera hitting the road to take on Central Tuscaloosa. And first, let me tell you about our sponsor for the Calera Eagles, Bertoloni's, right there in Calera off of I-65, one of the best Italian restaurants in the state of Alabama, voted Shelby County's best pizza, best date night, and best upscale restaurant. They've got amazing dishes. You look at the traditional Italian dishes, like spaghetti, like chicken parmesan, like lasagna, but their pizzas are unbelievable. The buffalo chicken pizza, the hot chicken pizza, so many other of your traditional flavors. Great pizza. The cakes by Slice or Whole are the best cakes in this state, hands down. So make sure you visit Sonia Bertoloni and her family there at Bertoloni's in Calera. 205-664-8780. 205-664-8780 to place your to-go order. Obviously, you can visit them online at bertolonis.com as well. They've got those family feasts that are going to feed you all football season long. Andrew, the Calera Eagles, they looked improved in week one under Scott Riles. They lose that game, but they had chances to win it. They led in the first half. They got within a few points late, chances at an onside kick that likely would have led to a win that they couldn't recover. We see the improvement, but we also see a Central team that started with a strong win against Tuscaloosa County. What's the expectation in this one tonight?
I think we'll definitely still continue to see Calera be able to compete within this one. I think the offense has improved a lot to the point where they can take on some teams that maybe last season they didn't really have as much of a shot to compete against. That passing game really operating at a great click. The running game's got a lot of great potential with Demetrius Davis as well back there. But this defense needs to improve. The defense was the major reason why they let Northridge back into the game, surrendered an early lead that they couldn't really make up for on the tail end of that week one showdown at home in Scott Riles' first game. But for his first game, I thought I saw a lot of encouraging potential. But you also look over at Central, and that's a team that's really improved, beating Tuscaloosa County and going to be coming in with a head full of steam into this one. I think at the end of the day, Central takes this. But like I said, if Calera is able to start keeping pace with them and the defense shows a little bit of improvement, I think that's going to, down the stretch, see the Eagles end up in a much better spot than when they were.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If A.J. Johnson comes out and plays the way he did last week, and I think get even better, I think he's going to get better tonight, obviously with a week under his belt. This is an offense I think that's going to stay in this game. I don't expect much defense, to be honest with you, tonight between these two. Yeah. If it ends up in a shootout, Calera's going to have their chances in the second half to win this football game. You just got to avoid the turnover bug, and that's what I worry about. That's why I think Central going to walk away with a tight win there. But would not be surprised if we see Calera get that first win since the year before last. So a big opportunity for the Eagles on the road against Central Tuscaloosa tonight. Well, the one team opening the season aside from Coosa Valley tonight, our lone AHSAA team that's opening the season tonight, that's going to be the Helena Huskies as they hit the road to take on McAdory. Some question marks going into the season for Helena with some new faces that are going to be on this roster. Place where you don't have any question marks, that's Consign Design, who's sponsoring the Helena Huskies on our show throughout the season. Anything you're looking for going into the high school football season, the college football season, get your game day gear, get whatever you need right there at Consign Design in Alabaster off Fulton Springs Road near Publix and the Walmart neighborhood market. You can give them a call at 205-664-7540, 205-664-7540 for more information. Voted the best consignment store in Shelby County 8 times now. Wendy and her crew there at Consign Design have everything that you need. So make sure you visit them for all your game day gear, all your jewelry fixings, anything you need there, right there at Consign Design. They're going to take good care of you and get what you need throughout this high school football season. But Andrew, Helena opening the season tonight on the road at McAdory. It's their opener. Good chance for the Huskies to go on the road and build some confidence here early in the year. What's the expectation?
Yeah, I think this is really just going to see how much, just try to set the tone for the Huskies going into region play next week. Obviously, you get one less week of preparation with a one less game under your belt thanks to that week one bye. I'm looking forward to see just how much progress they've made in the 2 weeks since that Jamboree. A little bit of a rough performance against Leeds. They did end up coming out with the win, but definitely some areas of improvement up front, needing some defensive playmakers to step up, and also working in a new quarterback. It's going to be a really interesting time at Helena. Nothing they haven't done before. This team is no stranger to reloading, especially with veteran talent that's come through the building. But this is going to be a big test for them going on the road. A short road trip, albeit over to McAdory. But it'll be interesting to see how they're able to compete, especially after McAdory got in a little bit of a firefight last week against Pleasant Grove. If that offense can exploit some of the defense's weaknesses. And we're also looking to see just how that defense can step up. Playmakers like Jeremiah Alvis, like Jonathan Roberto, and whoever can come up alongside them Whoever can start playing at that high level like they have and make that defense into that unstoppable unit that we've seen that be in years past.
Yeah, if that offensive line plays well for tonight for Helena, I think you're going to see the Huskies actually walk away with a pretty comfortable win. And that's pretty you look at what this team's got back. They don't have a ton of offensive talent back from last year. And so it feels kind of scary to say that. But at the same time, this is a McAdory defense that struggled last week. I think Helena's going to come in with a good game plan and a good scripted start to this game. I think the Huskies, a very strong chance they walk away with a victory there tonight on the road at McAdory. But going to have that offensive line play a little bit better. That takes us to the Chelsea-Wetumpka game as the Hornets look to improve to 2-0, a strong showing last week for Chelsea. And it started with Chase Drasner there, the running back, and a strong performance to open up the year with 136 rushing yards. Aiden Hughes in the passing game, also at receiver with a good game there. So the offense played well, the defense strong, in a 24-3 win against 4A Mobile Christian. Tonight, little stiffer competition against Wetumpka, but on their home field. Andrew, do you see the Hornets improving to 2-0 here in this ballgame?
I definitely do, especially based off the way the defense played last week. Granted, Mobile Christian a few steps down, still working out a few things with a new head coach and some new offensive weapons around them. But when you hold your opponent to 3 points coming out in the opener, that's going to send a wave of confidence throughout this defense that I think they're going to be able to build off of and really take into a matchup against Wetumpka. That's a pretty solid 6A team, beatable one, but definitely a good test for them to see how they are going to be going into a good stretch of region play for them. And like some of these other teams I mentioned before, it's going to be that run game that's going to be the strength. Chase Drasner really being relied on a lot in that run game last week. Morgan Barnes we've seen be an effective weapon as well for them. And I think Miller Bowman definitely has the potential with some receivers like CJ Durbin to develop into a solid quarterback. Getting to know the system a lot better. And I think we're going to start seeing this team build up on themselves in steps as the weeks go on. But playing at home against a Wetumpka side, that's a pretty winnable game for them. I think they're going to end up walking away with this win.
Yeah, it is going to be a stiff test. I think if they win this one, this is a team that competes for the playoffs. I think ultimately gets into the playoffs. This is a good early season test to see where you are. And with what they've got ahead, it's one that can build a lot of confidence, especially for that offense. Defense, we expected to be pretty good coming into the year, even with some new faces. The offense is where the question marks were after losing their star running back in Emerson Russell to graduation last year. And obviously some turnover at quarterback, receiver. They lose their top targets there. So if the offense comes out and plays well against really a like-minded opponent in Wetumpka tonight, this is a Chelsea team that's going to have some good opportunities ahead the rest of the year. I think it's going to be a tight battle. I think it's going to be a tough one. But I'm interested to see how that offense really shows up to play tonight. After taking on a 4A team last week, can they do it against a team with more similar numbers to them this week? That takes us to the game right here behind me. We'll start with this one, Pelham and Oak Mountain. Then we'll jump over to your game, Andrew, here in just a second. But the Pelham Panthers, a chance to bounce back from a tough loss to Pell City last week. Oak Mountain, a very impressive showing to start the season. Will Odell, 400-plus yards of offense last week. So the Eagles looking to improve to 2-0 tonight. Pelham looking to avoid an 0-2 start to the season. Before we jump in, let me tell you about our friends at 3D Air Services. Jay Carr and his crew will get you set up, whether it's heating, whether it's air conditioned. Obviously, right now, we've got this hot summer heat still hanging around, but soon we're going to have the cooler temperatures jumping in. 3D Air Services is who you want to call to get your air or heat tuned up during this crazy Alabama fall, summer, whatever it is right now. So make sure to give them a call, 205-664-3501, 205-664-3501, 3dairservices.com. They've proudly called Shelby County home since 2005 and are more than your trusted HVAC company. They're your neighbors, friends, and supporters. They're supporters of the Pelham Panthers on this football show throughout the year, and they believe the power of teamwork, dedication, and community spirit. They carry that with them to every job that they're doing. And you want to make sure your air conditioning is working right now because it is hot outside tonight. And I have a feeling we're going to see a heated matchup here on this field behind me, the Pelham Panthers and Oak Mountain Eagles in a rivalry battle. We saw both these teams last week. Pelham struggles on both sides. Oak Mountain comes out Defense was a little shaky at times, but that offense was awesome with Will Odell leading the charge. Andrew, what's the expectation for these two tonight?
I think for Oak Mountain, it's continue the offensive development that you saw last week. Will Odell looked really strong in the quarterback position, and he presents a really dangerous test to this Pelham defense. If you don't get him down, look out, because he's either going to make plays on his legs or with his arm, and he looks like a lot more of a poised and confident quarterback than he's been throughout his career. I think this is really close to the final form of what we're seeing from Will Odell, just really special talent over there at Oak Mountain. But then you also look over on this Pelham team, definitely some improvements that need to be made. Can you continue building on that offense and keep it to a step above what they were able to do last week? Scored a touchdown late, but really were stopped a lot throughout the game against Pell City. But for both of these teams, I think the biggest question comes down to their defense. Both teams let up a lot of points from Pell City and from Briarwood, their respective opponents. I think whoever comes out, gets some more stops on that end of the ball, I think that's going to be who walks away with the win, because I think the offense will be able to capitalize from there.
So who do you have?
I lean towards Oak Mountain in this one. I leaned Briarwood last week and definitely saw a lot of really good things from Oak Mountain, the things I wanted to see from them coming into the season. And I think right now they're really rolling in a positive direction. Pelham, just a few too many questions to answer. I think they're eventually going to become a better football team, but right now it's really just about who's better at this point in the season, and I think that's Oak Mountain.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a team, when you look at Will Odell and what he did a week ago, the offense is further along. Pelham's defense, the way it struggled last week against Pell City, if you struggle again this week against what we saw from Odell last week, that's going to make it a tough thing to stop. But I do think you're going to see Pelham score some points and make this a good football game tonight. Ultimately, though, I think Will Odell's got that confidence about him. They want this game bad after losing last year. They got revenge a week ago. They want revenge again in week 2. They want to start 2-0 and then go into next week against Prattville with a chance at a 3-0 start heading into Class 7A Region 3. So big opportunity for both of these teams tonight, though. And just keep in mind, this is an Oak Mountain team. They scored 38 points last week. Last year, to start the season, 38-30 win. They scored 38 points. They didn't win another game the rest of the way. So you can't get complacent if you're Oak Mountain. You got to come out ready to roll in this one. You can't let last week dictate this week. You got to be prepared. And same for Pelham. Put that one in the rear view. It's a new week. You got some tape to look at now. Come out prepared and ready to roll, and you'll have a chance in this game. You're on your home field. I mean, they're athletic. I was watching Pelham warm up.
Yeah.
They've got athletes. They've got the athletes. It's just a matter of making those improvements from week 1 to week 2. I think you're going to see it. I think it's going to be enough to keep them in the game. But I think Will Odell, with his big frame, going to be able to make some plays down the stretch to help Oak Mountain seal a win and start 2-0 to the high school football season. That takes us to the game out there at the Hoover Met, where Andrew Simons is going to have you covered all night tonight. A great rivalry battle. One that I'm extremely excited they were able to keep around was Spain Park jumping down to 7A as the Spain Park Jaguars hit the road to take on the Hoover Buccaneers. Both these teams looking for 2-0 start. Spain Park, a big showing last week in their opener at home, and now against Prattville in that one. And now you look at jumping into this week. Obviously, Hoover also coming off a big win down in Florida a week ago in a tight, low-scoring game. And so that's going to be kind of the fun thing to watch. Hoover's defense played extremely well last week. Spain Park's offense played extremely well last week. And I think that's going to be the fun thing to watch unfold in this matchup. Andrew, before I jump to you, I want to tell you about our friends at Scooters Coffee. Scooters right there on Highway 280. They've got a location in Inverness next to Chipotle and Home Depot. Been there several times myself, a Chelsea resident. I've been to the Chelsea location as well. Make sure you visit them. They've got that fall menu out right now. Pumpkin spice this, pumpkin spice that. They've got the pumpkin chai latte, which is a personal favorite of mine. They've got all their apple menu items out now and their caramel autumn crunch. So many other things there. Their teas, their smoothies, their coffee blenders. They've got food, cheesecake bites, breakfast burritos, omelet bites, so much more there at Scooters. It's the one thing you want to have throughout the season. And so while, Andrew, they going to the national anthem there?
Yes.
Okay. I'll give you my prediction for the Spain Park game, and then we'll jump to Andrew after he finishes with the anthem there here in just a second. But you look at what this team's going to do tonight. I think you look at Spain Park's offense and just the excitement that they were able to put with Brock Bradley last year. I'm going to the national anthem too here in just a second. But yeah, you look at Spain Park, Brock Bradley, 9 of 15, 243 yards, 5 touchdown passes. Corey Barber, 133 yards, a touchdown on 5 receptions. Mitchell Frazier, also a big game with 80 yards and 2 touchdowns on 3 receptions. So we're going to both take a break for the national anthem here for just a second. Andrew, you'll probably finish before me. I'll let you jump back in here in just a second, but stay tuned. We'll give you our predictions for Spain Park Hoover in just a second.
Sounds good.
All right, so we just finished the national anthem here at Pelham for the Pelham Oak Mountain game. We were so close. We running a little bit late tonight, and we're like, we got to get it in before the national anthem. We were so close to doing it, but want to finish up our Spain Park Hoover breakdown now as we're 10 minutes from kickoff in both of these matchups. And Spain Park's offense played lights out last week in that opener. Brock Bradley was impressive. The passing game was impressive. The running game, which we thought was going to be the highlight, was the thing that didn't play as well last week. Defense also played well. So I'm expecting that we're going to see the offense continue to play well, even against this tough Hoover defense. The big question for me is, can Hoover's offense improve from what we saw last week? They've got the athletes to make it happen. So I'm interested to see how that's going to unfold. Andrew, I don't know what your thoughts are, but what do you think is going to be the outcome in this matchup between these two teams?
Yeah, you talk so much about the Spain Park offense, but obviously you look at 5 touchdowns from Brock Bradley. That's going to be one of the headlines, but you can't overlook 4 turnovers out of the defense, and just a lights out performance throughout the night really prevented Sparkman from getting a lot of momentum throughout the evening. And I saw too many encouraging signs from the Spain Park defense to not like them within this matchup, especially a Hoover team face a solid defense in Western, a little bit of a low-scoring game in that one. I said this on the show earlier this week. I think it's going to come down to the turnover battle. Whoever is able to get the offense off the field and give their respective offense the more chances to capitalize on the other end, I think that's going to be who wins the game. And I like the Spain Park defense to not only make the plays to do that, but also to capitalize through the passing game and through what I believe will also be a more improved running attack as Dakari Shanks and CJ Cowley continue to progress as runners.
Yeah, I think we're going to find out 2 things tonight. We're going to find out, or 1 thing really, we're going to find out if Spain Park is legit state championship contender. They win this game, they're a championship contender in Class 6A. Or we're going to find out if Hoover is back, and even with the turmoil of the offseason, is going to be a team that can compete for a 7A state championship and that Class 7A Region 3 title as well. No matter what, if this is a close game, you're going to see positive things from both of these teams moving forward. But I think for Spain Park, if they can win, this is a huge step for them. They win this rivalry game, a rivalry that they don't usually win, their confidence is going to be through the roof going into a region that we already expect them to win. So it's a big opportunity for the Jags tonight. We know the story of last year. Felt like they were the better team in that game a season ago. They ultimately lose that one and deal with some injuries in that matchup and the rest of the way. And that game kept them out of the playoffs a season ago. That's still in their minds. That's still in their minds going into this year. They're going to be ready for that one tonight out there at the Hoover Met. All right, quick 10-second closing thought from you, Andrew, as we head into this Friday night of football.
As everything's going around me, the band's firing up and all the crowds starting to file in, I'm getting more excited for this matchup than I already am. I'm expecting some big things over here, and I know you're feeling the same with that incredible atmosphere down at Pelham.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night out here. 2 of the better bands in the county as well. All the bands are great, but these 2 bands, exceptional marching bands. We're going to get good things from them. But I expect Pelham to come out fired up and ready to roll. They don't want to start 0-2, I think they're going to show some improvements. But Oak Mountain, man, I'm telling you, this is a good chance for them to show that they're a team that is improved from last year. Still some doubters after last week's showing. I'm excited to see which one of these teams, whether it's Oak Mountain continuing to show that they're improved or Pelham bouncing back and really improving from week one. Going to be a lot of fun. It's a county battle. You can't ask for much more. It's always great to see that one unfold. So make sure you're following us on X tonight at Alec Etheridge SC. I'll have updates from here, Pelham Oak Mountain, at Andrew T. Simonson. He's going to have updates from there at Spain Park, and he's going to have your tweets from across the county and all of our teams in action tonight. On Facebook, on Twitter, on our website, after the game, stories, photos, video recap from this one here at Pelham Oak Mountain as well. So make sure you're following all of our outlets for another exciting night of high school football. But that's going to do it for Andrew out at the Hoover Met. Enjoy yourself, Andrew. I'm Alec Etheridge. This has been the Shelby County High School Football Pregame Show. Enjoy your football Friday night.